Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of the Dimeback Retrocast. I am Tyler, and tonight I have with me Megan Bard.
Hello.
And Peter Bard.
Hey.
And Kevin Meacham.
Bonjour.
And tonight we are watching a Valentine's Day 1998 matchup of UConn and the University of Bad Pittsburgh. Let's hit play in 3, 2, 1.
Getting ready to take on number 6 Connecticut.
What about the implication that there's a good Pittsburgh?
Maybe there's a better Pittsburgh.
You'll see a lot of him. He's the leading rebounder for Pittsburgh.
Jared Lockhart is a creative player. He doesn't really exist. Look at this motherfucker.
They said no one.
Ralph Willard.
Wow.
That's Kevin's dad.
I would never have guessed that he was the coach at Pitt at this point.
Also played the dad in American Pie.
Just so we're clear, I mean Kevin Willard's dad, not Kevin Meacham's dad.
Megan, I couldn't hear anything you said.
The giant weird-looking warm-up shirts are hideous. With like the navy panel down the middle of the front of it, it's very strange looking. I forgot how much I love this team.
Yeah, this 98 team's a little... Like, this is a funny one to watch just because it's essentially the 99 team, but not quite as good.
Right.
But it's got Monquencio Hardnett.
I was trying to figure out who the most random guy we're going to see in this game is, and it's got to be Hardnett, right?
Or Antrick Kleber.
Does E.J. Harrison see minutes?
I don't remember if he played in this game.
Kleber at least played in 99, occasionally. The first, 5 minutes of these games are always trying to find my bearings of how to identify people in low def. Oh, Jesus. All right, that's a good start.
Pick out.
So we're already in the era where Ricky Moore stopped shooting.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. He really only shot for 1 year.
Ooh, is it? Is it the Jake Bosco game?
The first 50 seconds indicate yes.
That's where Connecticut got killed against West Virginia the other night, 23-7 on putbacks.
There you go, Colin.
There's a foul against Jared Lockhart of the Panthers, his first. They've got to rebound well.
Colin?
Oh, he doesn't even have a face. Oh, it was the back of his head.
3 straight wins, including a tight one in the Big East tournament last year in New York City.
Oh, God. It's really amazing how much of an impact Khalid had on this team as a freshman.
For Ralph Willard's club, and for Connecticut in this game to try to be very aggressive early in this one, and if they can score, get that pressure going.
This is part of a weird stretch of games.
Now, that's that quick start I talked about. If they can do that, now you see the 2-2-1. Pittsburgh's got to keep their poise.
Look in here. So this turns into a double-digit win, coming after a double-digit loss, coming out of 3 double-digit wins, all in conference, except though one of the wins was against number 9 Stanford.
And Hawkins fighting his own teammate for that.
Strange to play the middle of the season 6 non-competitive games.
Yeah.
Put it up the second time, kept alive by Greer. We got a foul.
I don't remember that loss, though. Maybe I blacked it out.
80-62 at West Virginia.
That sounds like something you should block out.
Who apparently was very good that year. Or they were ranked.
On that team?
That West Virginia team had no one I have ever heard of. Their leading scorer was Damian Owens, 16 and 6.
Back rim and a rebound. Now Hawkins, boy.
Kyle looked fast. That was quick.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
There's more. They got numbers 3
Wow.
and 2.
Damian Owens played at West Virginia so long ago
Oh, wow.
that he actually played his first year at West Virginia in the Atlantic 10.
That's right.
Connecticut,
Oh, yeah.
as we thought, coming off
That was
that
a
West
thing.
Virginia game, very intense to start this one.
Early 90s A10 was kind of wild.
Losers 80-62 at West Virginia.
Because you had all the teams you think of in the A10, and then Temple and West Virginia.
I always think of Temple as an A10 team.
I still do.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Like, to me, Temple is like the A10 team.
I would say Xavier is the team I associate with the A10.
Oh.
Look at that savvy ass play. Ricky, you sly fucker.
See, Temple was there earlier.
Jesus.
This is no longer the Jake Vosco game, FYI.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
And it would have counted if it had gone.
Oh, nice drive to the basket. Elamine up very slowly. He's been fighting an upper ankle injury.
These are definitely my favorite uniforms. I've seen enough of our Retrocast now to determine the, like, 95 to, I don't know, what was it? Wherever this era ended, yeah, 02, 03, somewhere in there.
I like these a lot. I liked the 93 ones a little bit better, but I do like these a lot too.
Leach, Xavier entered the Atlantic 10 in 1995.
Oh, they were in the Great Midwest or whatever before
Midwest. The Midwest Collegiate Conference, and before that, the Midwest City Conference. I assume they were the same conference.
We have him on Quisios.
Hey, Bob Stack was their coach in the early 80s.
Go figs.
And then get some booze from the fans.
UConn great.
There probably did not need that.
Could have avoided that one, but he was on the baseline as he tried to make that save under the basket.
Look at this score bug where the full name spelled out.
Pittsburgh, Connecticut.
Still not on the screen the whole time though.
They do have the clock. That's an improvement.
Yeah, that is true. Although this is a local broadcast, right? I swear I saw the Channel 8 logo at the top.
Yeah. This is the Big East Network or whatever.
Yeah.
There was a Learned League question several weeks ago about, that's an offensive foul now.
Yeah.
About what actor's name was spelled out in a NCAA tournament game between a Big East team and a Missouri Valley team in 2006. I was like,
Brad
oh shit, I remember. I was like, I don't remember that.
One of the great early memes of basketball blog culture.
It's a big day for you.
It was, yeah. It was when I knew my calling to sit on the internet for 8 hours a day and read what some idiot thought of Wisconsin Green Bay.
Baseline cut off, split the defense.
Who's that?
Bosco thought he had him cut off. They're going to give the foul to Hardnett.
Monquencio. Hardnett. Monquencio Hardnett.
He coaches somewhere now, right?
He started
AAU or
those
something?
I hope
games.
so.
He started those games when Ricky Moore and Clark King were suspended. And
Phrasing.
he started the game when they played the undefeated Kansas that featured Paul Pierce and Rafe LaFrance.
Yeah, because we didn't have a point guard, so Rip had to
Did
play
not.
point guard.
Someone did, and he did. They went up by 25 on that team, which did not, end up that way.
I thought they went up by 13 and lost by 12.
Pretty sure it was more than that. I was at the game.
It's like, yeah, a 25-point lead would be much more traumatic, I feel like.
It was an awesome game, oddly enough. I had really good seats, so.
How tough is that?
I'll say I know it's your favorite UConn loss. I tried to watch it a while ago, and I did not enjoy it as much as I think you did.
The first couple of minutes are pretty fun.
Yeah,
And then you
whenever
turn it off.
UConn is winning, it's great. But boy, do they look
Well, and also
outmatched
too,
for
like,
most of the game.
You went into that game expecting to get whooped. Like the expectations were very low.
Well, my expectations
like-
were a
That
great
doesn't make it
UConn
fun
loss.
to only kind of lose.
The fall, Cosby. It went off of his leg.
Because my favorite UConn loss, not that it's my favorite game they've ever lost, but the most entertaining loss to me was 95 UCLA.
57 to go.
0-2 Maryland for me.
I haven't watched
that is
02 Maryland in a
another
long
thing
time.
I've never actually seen the UCLA game. Maybe I'll have to pull that one up in the
It's
next
two
18
incredible
months.
offensive teams just playing offense for 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's some of the best basketball you're ever going to see, but it was a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
So
I was
feel like
murdered by it
have-
at the time. Yeah.
I have two suggestions for possible women's basketball game retrocasts. One is the OG Tennessee game in '95,
Of course.
or the 2002 championship, just because that team was fucking sick. And it was a pretty close game until the end. And then Diana Taurasi did some Diana Taurasi shit, and it was just and Swin Cash had an amazing game. It's a great game.
Part of me just wants to
I definitely
find the Taurasi game with the most insane line score for her and just watch that.
There is.
I fucking love Khalid.
Yeah.
There is I think it might even be the 2002 Tennessee regular season game where she scored like 35 points.
Yeah, that sounds up my alley.
That one might be fun too. That would also be a fun one because that's that same team.
Yeah,
like-
I want to see an 01-02 women's game at like the peak of their powers because I don't remember them playing very well in the championship game.
They were awesome that season, so it would be fun to watch them beat the shit out of somebody.
It's funny to watch the difference between this team and the 94 team. Like, it's still high-pressure defense, but it's way less frenetic.
I feel like Rip was better as a sophomore than as a freshman.
Well, is that a hot take?
I don't think that is.
I'm sorry. Better as a sophomore than as a junior.
Yeah.
He was
certainly...
obviously.
Yeah,
especially
I
as
don't
an
know the
outside
numbers off
shooter.
my head, but yeah, I would bet he was maybe more efficient as a junior, but he was definitely more electric as a sophomore, I think.
Hawkins goes up, Bosco got it back. A battle, a good one. And there's
Jesus.
Greer got a loose ball and puts it home. And Jimmy Calhoun wants a
Rip on this team was kind of like
things he saw under the basket.
Karan as a sophomore, where like Gordon was really, really good as a freshman, but was still Karan who had to like do most of the work on offense. And then by the time next year came around, they were just a really, really good team, and college fucking kicked ass.
Good action inside, wasn't it? I mean, but and a great battle develops with Foster
So Rip
and Hawkins,
shot
but everyone else kind of saying, hey,
40% and change from three as a sophomore and under 35% as a junior.
Tell you what, Calhoun was on the
But he went from shooting 463 from 2 as a sophomore to 496 as a junior.
And how many attempts, do you know?
9 Connecticut.
21.5 points a game on 16.6 attempts
West Virginia
as a sophomore, 21.5 points a game on 16.4 attempts as a junior. So slightly better
Oh, yeah, block shot by Attila Cosby.
as a junior.
And it was tipped. It will remain
I
Connecticut.
feel like my enduring memories of Rip Hamilton are just like watching him run off of screens and like catch the ball and turn around and shoot it.
Senegal. So he provides another shot blocker for the
But yeah, that was like 90%.
Offense.
Here he comes.
Here it goes, yeah.
Hamilton. Quick pop, hit it.
There you go.
4-3. So
Khalid had such a ridiculous like touch on the ball. That little floater that he had in the lane that he put up over the big guys. So pretty.
Lockhart, boy, he's a three
Khalid
specialist.
is like a creative player.
Huskies, boy, they look sharp. LME, they'll take it all the way. Oh, sent back by Cosby.
He's out of
You don't look at
bounds.
that body and go,
That guy just hit it into his own face and then step out of bounds with it.
all right, can we just discuss how hideous the trim on these
Oh,
uniforms
Attila.
are? Hate
It's not
that.
good.
It's really, really ugly. It's bothering me a lot.
I thought he had the angle here, but Cosby just times it beautifully.
Jones.
Well, that's part of it.
Contact, no ball, Cosby rebound.
Ah, finish that.
Good interior defense right there. Cosby makes him change the shot and then gets the board.
Hawkins wants it inside against Juan.
So this is junior year for Moore and Jones,
Being
right?
guarded by Hamilton outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Under 20 in the shot clock. Penetrate. Here's Hawkins. Short baseline jumper. No. Rebound to Suleiman Juan, and he's able to stay in bounds.
Jones going from second leading scorer
LME, they left him alone. He'll take it.
to
Can't get it. Rebound.
like, 'cause remember when LME came in, they were like, oh, he's going to be the sixth man, and then he never was the sixth man.
Yeah, that's your point right there. The big man getting it around the foul line. Get
Who
it
was
to him
supposed to be
closer
the starter?
basket.
Hardenett?
You don't want to have to make your big man handle that ball with a guard.
It's kind of
on.
easy
No,
to
the
not.
starter was going to be El Amin,
Panthers average
Thought you
and
just
then
said he was
Jones was going to be the sixth man. But
Jones was gonna be the
Hardenett
sixth
played
man.
more than Jones,
and 8 right
and
now.
then Mooring played more than Jones the next year.
Yeah.
Connecticut has done a terrific job capitalizing.
Did Jones get hurt at some point?
Dave Sims and
Not that
Rob
I can
Murray
recall.
on the Biggie's crew
No.
for your
His
Bat
best
Day
season was his
Saturday
sophomore year.
basketball.
I just remember thinking he was like really athletic, and then at some point at the end of his career being like, he's not that athletic.
On the season, averaging just under 5. That's fourth in the
I don't remember him ever getting hurt,
Nice job
but, you know.
inside. It's
You know what? There's like one play that's stuck in my head where his like knee buckled when he went up for a layup, and he just like collapsed. And I think he was fine. I think it was just a fluke. But in my head, I think that's where the doubt comes in.
Because he was a pretty good outside shooter early on, and then he just completely stopped taking threes. He was 1 for 9 from three as a senior. He was 55 of 154 as a sophomore.
Well, that is just great timing.
Yeah, weird.
Terrific interior
Very weird.
defense so far in this game in terms of timing things and stopping it in one.
Though he was holding the ball when they won a national championship, so, you know.
Well, you better be ready to protect yourself when you get inside today. Off the curl is LME.
Does anyone want to
I
guess?
love that place so much.
Looking for the shot.
Does anyone want to guess where the 1998 UConn team ranked in Ken Palm?
Sure. Go ahead.
6.
Yeah, I was going to say 12.
I'll go with
26% from deep. He's got 7 points.
Peter wins, sort of. Not by Price is Right rules. 5th.
Fifth.
They were number 5 in the country that year by Ken Palm.
We got hosed by the
I was
committee.
going to say, I knew they were high up, and it was kind of a screw job that they got the worst bracket for the 2 seed.
Must have felt it in warm-ups.
Might have hurt a lot from coaches last couple of days, too.
Letting UNC play in Greensboro was ridiculous.
He's having an outstanding year.
Man, UW fans must hate us.
They do.
Because,
We
like,
have
we're
ruined
the
their
more
lives.
prominent school
With the
with
same
their
name.
same mascot. And the loss in 98 and the loss in 06, I would, like, those are both brutal losses.
Brutal.
Really brutal.
Do they like?
I mean, they were great wins.
do they,
Yeah.
do they hold like
Phenomenal.
conspiracy theories about any of the losses?
I think the 06 one they do. Because wasn't there
I
some...
mean,
Well,
they
that
Brandon
definitely
Roy fouled out.
thought that,
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
and he
Rudy
got teed
baited
up
him
at
into a
one point.
technical.
Yeah. That's fair.
but like, that's not a conspiracy. That always works.
One of the
Like if
2
you-
greatest technicals induced by a UConn player in the Sweet 16.
And the Huskies
What's the other meech?
enjoying some
Kemba against San Diego State.
output from
Oh,
the
yeah.
point range.
Well,
San Diego
hey,
State was on like a 10-0 run, and Kemba ran into a guy while they were walking off the court.
that guy walked into him on purpose.
Kemba sold it.
The foul.
Well,
He
Kemba
really
sold. Kemba was the great salesman.
He
Yes,
really
he was.
Kevin Leslie in the game, number 40 for Pittsburgh, going with Cummings and Hawkins and Ricardo Greer.
Man, I forgot how
Ricardo
shitty
Greer,
Pittsburgh
there's a
was
name.
for
Knocked
a
out of
while in the
bounds by
90s.
Moore, who tried to sell it to Rusty Herring, and they said, "What are you kidding me?"
Good man-to-man
Feel like
pressure.
I don't know about you.
Channel 8
Yeah,
has the same logo
Sterling.
That
still.
ball was tipped on the play by
What,
I
Megan?
just hear Sterling saying Pitt is trash.
And Connecticut
Pitt is
really
garbage.
tight
I
pressure.
know. I wish
But
we
they
could
were
pump in the
really
Sterling.
like, they were bad
somewhere.
every year in the 90s, pretty much.
25 points last Sunday against Boston.
When did they get good? Like
When they
was
hired
02?
Howland, I guess.
Push shot.
Yeah.
Jake.
Boston got it maybe even on the rim.
That was
It might
a,
have been a little goaltend. A
Whoa.
little goaltend there.
That kind of looked like
hell
goaltending.
yeah. That was a pass.
I was
What
gonna say,
is
that was a
this
great
camera
pass.
angle?
Rusty Herring, the offside
Did the
break
real
was
camera
on.
angle
There was an
break?
illegal screen, and it's against
What?
Kevin Freeman.
Boy, that's a good
It was 1998 they were trying out.
nice rebound here. Let's see if it is on
Extreme
the rim.
camera look.
See if this is
Oh,
goaltending.
that's a
yeah.
goaltend.
Oh, God, yes, that was goaltending.
100%.
And that's stupid.
Offensive interference, and then on the
What?
outlet,
I'm
Freeman
so confused what just
screening off the
happened.
off man.
Nice move by Greer. Tried to put it up with the left hand. They get a
Okay.
traveling violation. That's turnover number 6 for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pitt needs to
It's
take
good D by
advantage of
Jake.
those
I feel like the 90s had a lot of what would be offensive fouls now, just called travels.
when you get the chances.
Yeah.
Frustrated look.
I mean, if he hadn't bounced off him, they might have called the offensive foul.
Started the season. Look at those turnovers.
But the thing is, like, Voskuhl
This
was,
season, 6 freshmen,
like,
3 sophomores,
260.
and a junior. Youngest team ever.
Nice pass.
he was a moose. Oh,
On Hawkins.
and he could finish if he could get next to the basket.
This is just a
Yeah.
dynamite pass here by Freeman. And when you get the ball to the middle against the zone defense, you can make some good things happen.
He was really like the perfect piece for this particular team.
Yeah, he
As
was
he
a
said.
good enough shot blocker. He was good at boxing out. He played good low
He's a
post
solid
D.
defender. He could pass out of the high post and set a great high screen, which you needed somebody to set a lot of screens for Rip Hamilton. And he set a lot of those screens.
Inside as well as outside with Elamine.
Him and Kevin Freeman, they would run those like double screens and just like Rip running round and round those guys.
Bosco, 4 points, 3 rebounds.
But actually, Jake was an underrated passer at the top of the key.
So Connecticut has doubled up Pittsburgh.
I'd kill for 6 and 7 on 55% shooting. I'd murder any one of you for that.
Pick me.
All right. I'm also about 3 weeks away from trying to give myself the Jake Foskell haircut.
You know what? It's working. It's working. It's coming back.
Voskell had 38 and 39 assists as a junior and a senior.
Give us some reference. What did Carlton and Whaley have this year?
Hang on.
Big East enjoying a lot of success this year.
Whaley probably didn't have that many assists, but I remember all of them because they were awesome.
Whaley's a good passer.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty
Really
good
good.
passer, I think.
Very good passer.
He's got really good court awareness, like where everyone is, where the ball is, where they're going. I think that's one of the reasons he's actually been able to turn into a player.
Whaley had 17 assists on the season.
All right.
And I remember every single one of them.
Carlton had 21. So between them, they had as many as Voskell did as a junior.
Gorgeous. This team's good.
He was such a good fast break player.
From behind with a good look. A lot of contact on that last.
D up, Rip.
No call.
Baseline.
Yeah, you can't do shit.
God, Ricky was so good.
Last man to beat goes hard, he gets fouled.
There's no question about it in this game. UConn
This is another perfectly constructed Calhoun team. Like each person.
I think this one more so than any.
Yeah.
Really,
It
like the
is.
pieces just fit together so nicely, and such good
Perfectly.
chemistry, and the bench is so well constructed.
99 once you add Saunders and Mooring there.
I guess that's
Yeah,
really 99's the real one.
But I mean, even just these 5 pieces perfectly complement each other. Like you have your, Khalid, your fiery, floor general. You've got your blue guy,
irrational
Ricky Moore.
confidence.
Yeah, we love our irrational confident floor general, and then Ricky Moore to do your defense and get steals and make the occasional shot.
There were just a lot of guys willing to do jobs.
Yeah. And obviously, you got your scorer and Rip. Kevin Freeman is he just did yeoman's work the whole season. And obviously, Jake, the job he and Jake and Freeman did on Elton Brand in the final is legendary.
9:43 to go, and number 6 Connecticut, the 28-12 lead.
But man, has anybody
Full
ever been
court
better
minute.
at roster construction than Jim
It's got to
Callahan?
be a Pitt team today that's getting tired as this year goes
No,
on.
Megan.
Last ball game against
No.
Villanova.
I'm
saying it with confidence.
No one.
6 minutes in that one, so
Block. Yep.
Get
Get it,
I was
Claver.
just trying to think, because I just recently watched the Big East tournament final against St. John's, and they used the term yeoman's work to describe Kevin Freeman's performance in that game.
Did they really?
Yes.
I mean, it's not a phrase that I made up. It's an idiom that has existed for a
It's
while.
not.
Maybe you've internalized it the way Meach internalized Craig Austria as a comfortable sweater.
It's entirely possible.
But it's very evocative of his game when you think of for those of us who haven't read the Canterbury Tales, a yeoman
you
was a
looking at
type
me?
was a laborer. And so yeoman's work means someone who's worked very hard in grueling work.
I like
Yeah, somewhat
Calhoun.
thankless job.
Calhoun's on the bench wearing black shoes with olive pants and a navy jacket.
You're really
Styling.
It's bold.
What a year, Ron.
1998.
Assists, 5th in points per game. Kind of a valuable.
You're lucky he's not wearing a tracksuit.
He's been invaluable for this pitch.
Peter, I'd like to add Yeoman, also the nickname for Oberlin College Athletics.
Real glue on
Little
That's a great nickname.
little
That is a
tip
good
for all you
nickname.
Oberlin fans out there.
Thank you for that factoid, Meach.
You're welcome.
Blows by him, but then Flores blocks the shot. Quick outlet. Here's Ricardo Greer going hard, lays it up with the 2 hands. Well done.
You know what's awesome? UConnHuskyGames.com.
With the finish.
Oh yeah, good point.
Out.
The
Good
best site
shout.
on the internet.
Point lead.
It really is honestly
It
my
is.
favorite website.
Oh, God, what a
Oh
pass.
my God.
Nice pass.
With the exception of Reddit and Twitter, it's the website I spend the most time on. And it
Now
certainly
more than
makes me a
ever.
lot happier than those two.
Richard Hamilton showing an all-around game.
It's pretty incredible.
Best free throw shooter, leading 3-point
And thank you,
shooter.
Tom, for
Whoever
helping
built
us
it.
put all this weird shit together.
Nice job on that.
He's a great human being. Scholar and a
Also, the
gentleman.
other guy. Who's the other guy?
Just looks so much quicker and fresher.
You know,
Other two
not
guys?
Tom, they call him.
At Gamble Crazies.
Roadlock.
Yeah, shout out, buddy.
I don't know his real name,
Old GC.
but those guys are. I cannot tell you how much it has meant to me.
And it sort of wakes you up.
Well, you guys
Honest-
probably know.
I mean, honestly, like
Free
when I was
throws. Sorry, go ahead.
What the hell?
There's an exclamation point.
There was.
There
that
was,
was real.
yeah.
I
when
saw.
you,
I was. That's what I was questioning.
I wonder if that was just some intern like having a good time and they forgot to remove the exclamation point.
Man, Montego Gummies was pretty good.
What were you saying, Meech?
like when YouTube launched, like the only thing you could find on UConn, like of UConn basketball games, was the 2006 highlights and the Just One video, which still slaps. And if that's not on UConn Husky games, it should be. But like the opportunity to actually go back and relive all these things is like, these people are treasures, and I thank
And
them.
it's like the number of games that I never watched and never would have seen.
Oh, guys, I didn't
Like it
show
used
you
to be,
my.
if you missed the game, you missed the game. That was it.
Yeah, I'm wearing my throwback John, the appropriate logo for our game tonight shirt. This evening. So,
Very good.
Quality branding.
Sorry about that. I just knocked the microphone on the floor.
Getting themselves into Big East play, huh? Both having impact seasons.
Two good games that they played.
It's fun because so much of these things, like, obviously I haven't seen this game since 1998, but just trying to line up your memories of being like a 10-year-old or whatever with the reality of watching the game of people who, when this game's being played, are younger than I am now.
Ah,
Yeah.
finish that.
That lefty one he made, right?
Yeah, that is a weird experience. Because, like, even looking at them now, I still am like, oh, those people are older than me.
Wow, what a pass. Please don't screw this up.
Yeah, a little bit.
And they did.
You felt that
Sometimes
coming.
college kids are just going to play like college kids.
That's really like the big difference between this team and '99. Because in '99, like they would have just gotten that on the first try.
I feel like there were so many league games like this, like Big East games, where we were playing pretty well and just like walking all over somebody. And this happened for years. I feel like there were a lot of years where there were just a lot of teams that were shitty in this league. Like for a while, like Notre Dame sucked, Pitt sucked.
Yeah, especially after the expansion. Like
Yeah.
none of those teams came in and were good right away.
Yeah, the Big East definitely got
Rutgers,
some
Notre
bloat
Dame.
there for a while.
They're fired up here in Hartford. Tough place to play if you're coming in to play the Huskies.
And like Syracuse was not that great these years.
Really get after it here. You can see
They were usually like ranked. Like those weren't blowouts.
Then Pitt this afternoon.
Well, you know what? I'll check. Let's see.
Cummings,
If we blew them out in that time.
joined by
Didn't we blow them out in the Big East final this year, 98?
and Greer.
Only by 5.
Okay.
Flores inside,
We beat them by
Voskuhl.
9
Voskuhl
at
knocked it out of
Syracuse, and then we beat them by 5 in the tournament final.
Connecticut every year, Dave.
Because like they had good guys. Todd Bergen was on that team. Ryan Blackwell, Eton Thomas, Jason Hart, Marius Yanulis.
Ooh,
Yeah, there's a guy I forgot about.
there's a guy I remember.
Definitely not a
Damone
made-up
Brown.
name.
right there. Flores came off the
Man,
bench.
Damone Brown didn't do shit his first year. He was a good player though.
7 on the shot clock. Going against
Was
Jones.
Griffin
Greer,
good?
a little pull-up. Good
Yeah,
defense.
got okay.
Voskuhl rebounds. Flores. Had 2 opportunities. Make a steal there.
That was a nice defensive
Nice
set
play.
by UConn.
Freeman continues to work very hard underneath, and Cosby called for the foul. That'll be his second.
Now Cosby and Hawkins. they
Should
just
get Kevin
can't
Freeman on
beat
one of
Buffalo
these.
for Pitt, both with 2 right now. Good
That would rule.
by Freeman.
Might do it.
I want Khalid to come on to do the Pitt game with us.
Yeah, what are your dream games to get like a past UConn player? I think Khalid at Pitt 99 is the gold standard.
Connecticut
Andrew
Huskies
Hurley,
Oh,
please
yeah.
come on the pod, and let's do Seton Hall
Kevin
Senior.
Freeman having a good year.
Can we make?
Do it.
Just under 8 rebounds.
Well, if this goes off okay, we'll
Lead
start
on
inviting
West
guests.
Virginia and St. John's in the Big East 6.
Freeman's
We'll just stop
really
inviting
strained
Russ.
his Right wrist a couple of weeks ago. He just missed 1 game.
Russ has
the
shunned us.
Syracuse game.
He loves his family more than
He
us.
is just one tough kid. Can't keep
Shunned
it down.
Russ.
Kevin will take a rest for a few minutes. Enter Klaber back in. 14-point.
Yeah, he was like, "Fuck, I love that game." I was like, "Well,
Pass.
what are you doing
Idiot.
instead?" And then he did not respond.
Center field picks that one up.
Way to pass, no pass.
We should get Gabby to come on and do
Got partially blocked by
like one of the Notre Dame games, maybe. where
Did
they
she ever
do
have a
the game.
triple-double?
No one else realized that under the basket. Alert play.
I don't know.
She must
I
have.
feel like she must have.
I want to say yes.
Fontigo coming
Yeah.
for three.
That's a nice shot.
Hold on.
Great spring.
We're on the internet.
I'm
Find
gonna
out.
make Gabby watch like the first round AAC tournament game in 2016 or something.
On that one, and that's on
That's mean.
How was a team with Cummings this bad?
That is huge right there.
Because all the rest of them are very bad.
And he's fouling Kleber shooting a 17.
And that
January
guy's their
feel like-
2017.
Jim Calhoun's looking for.
I feel
Sorry,
like a
Ag.
decent coach would have been able to go better than 11 and 16.
There's a human
Gabby
named Attila
Williams.
Cosby.
Gabby Williams had a triple-double in UConn's 91-44 win against East Carolina.
I'm not watching that. No,
That was,
maybe.
that was the 94th win in the streak.
Not played a heck of a lot talking about shit. Kleber at the line.
I mean,
Gino, come on the
honestly, it probably is
Retrocast.
fun to
Spring,
watch.
Maryland. So 1 out of 2. Freeman back
I gotta say, now that we're doing these retrocasts, I never want to do a podcast ever again.
Well,
Now
there's
it's like a
nothing to talk
podcast, but we
about.
can do something.
Yeah, and I don't have
There's
to edit
nothing
anything.
to talk about right now.
And the silence just takes care of itself.
Fontigo Cummings got to work
It's
real
true, it
hard.
does.
Back to Hawkins. Lockhart almost picked it off.
Oh, Ricky, where are you going?
Put it up on the pump. Hawkins rebound.
That's a soft call.
Would have been good
Yeah,
if it
it's
had
lame.
gone.
What's the
I
score?
mean, the good thing is we weren't going to be able to do a podcast for the next 24 months or so
Meacham?
because there will be no sports whatsoever.
He takes a tough runner, but Hawkins has just been.
And then we won't be able to do one after that because Meach will be dead and Megan will be in jail for killing him.
Foul on Freeman.
I welcome it.
Hawkins, third leading rebounder in the Big East. 8-8.
Listen, they'll never convict me.
All it takes is one juror who's seen Meech's tweets.
They go.
Really stepped
He
it up and
deserved it.
played well.
I got you.
He'd get she would get acquitted because someone would read uppercase tweets.
That's, yeah.
and be like, "Oh yeah, I killed that guy."
Pittsburgh should be confident now. They're down by 10.
Done a good job to come back in this first half after that quick start by UConn. It's his own right now.
Oh, that's so gorgeous.
God, that was
This is
See, what did I say?
There's that good
What did
high
I
post.
say?
That's not out of the high post.
the passing is good, but also that is some dog shit zone defense.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this Pitt team looks poorly coached. Like, there are good players on this team. Hawkins, Greer, those are good players. Cummings is a stud. They should not have been this bad. 11 and 16, are you kidding me?
Conversely, I believe they should be this bad all the time.
Well, you're in luck, Tyler, because they are the 14th best team in the ACC now.
Wait, who's 15th?
I like to play this way.
Wake for now.
Pittsburgh
No.
has the vulnerability of
Do they still
Until
have
they fire
Randolph
Danny
Childress?
turn it up.
That's right. 40 minutes.
Believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Try to, maybe foul trouble does happen, but we'll at least try to wear out Pitt for later in the game.
Michael Shin being harassed by Jones. 3 on
Has
the
UConn
shot
ever
clock.
played
No
Wake?
idea. Here's Hawkins who's told to shoot it.
Oh.
He hit it.
You must have.
Fontigo Cummings said, "Hey man, there's only 3
Nothing's
on the
jumping
shot
to mind.
clock." He's got 9 points.
Turned and wheeled and sent it in, and Ralph Willard saying, "Hey, way to go, guys."
Yeah, we played them the ban year in whatever tournament that was.
The one after Michigan State?
No, it was like the Bahamas or something. There was the tournament we played Quinnipiac.
And Hawkins comes up with it.
That was
We played
13?
we played Wake in the first round.
This sounds like an
Yeah,
awesome
fuck this
tournament.
So they
Wake
played
in the
in-
first round, Quinnipiac semifinals, and New Mexico in the final.
Wait, does that mean Quinnipiac? Did we lose to Wake?
No.
Ricky
Nope, we won.
right inside.
Then who did Quinnipiac beat?
Contact.
That's a good question.
Morris had his back turned.
Almost UConn.
Moore went right to him.
God, that game sucked.
Next
That's
Saturday,
probably
we
Russ's
bring you
pick
more
for the
Big
next
East
game.
action as the Providence Friars take on the
Quinnipiac beat Iona in overtime, so that was for some reason a first round game.
Interesting.
Friars and the
I feel like they should have swapped those.
Well, they probably figured they'd get more
Foul, his
TV coverage from UConn versus a team
Connecticut
than
gets out and pushes the
Iona
ball. They
versus
have got numbers.
Wake or whatever.
Jim
I
Calhoun
suppose.
took that moments, a couple of minutes ago when there was a 3-on-0 break that didn't get converted. But they're getting some good numbers running and attacking the basket at the offensive end.
Pascal takes a seat. Suleiman Wan returns. And Ricardo Greer back in the game for Stephen Flores for the Pittsburgh Panthers. So Moore, 72% at the line. Makes it an 11-point game. We're under 5 to play.
Already up 11. Pitt is dog shit.
Now, if you're Pitt in this first half,
We've been up double digits for like
The entire game, basically.
like 12 minutes of this game.
The way UConn looked like they could pull away in this first half.
Lockhart has not been a factor here.
This would be an easy game to track on my misery index spreadsheet.
Is it just a picture of you in a spreadsheet?
It could be. Well, because like my thinking behind that was I wanted to find out how, like, quantify how much of a season sucked based on how, you know, we were up, how many possessions we were up at any given time.
How do you account for the fact that if a game gets really bad, I just turn it off?
I stopped counting at plus or minus 10.
Oh no, I watch the whole time if they're beating the crap out of somebody.
Oh yeah, but that's still rules, but makes it easier for me to calculate it. You'll be surprised to find that 2006 and 2007 was not a good year in this metric.
11-point lead for Connecticut. Ricardo Greer.
My misery index was how many games I was covering in like 2017, 2018 that I got in my car afterwards and was like, I can't believe I just spent this much time watching this game. When the game ends and you're like, oh, I have to go do interviews. Oh.
So here's another game I want to throw in our potential list. 1994, November, UConn beats Duke in one of the early season tournaments, 1986.
The Great Eight?
I think that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Is that a bad Duke team?
I mean,
Yes.
Do we care?
That's fine.
No. Apparently, it's Kevin Ollie's best game of his UConn career. Because that's the Kevin Ollie game.
Give me $10 million and I'll watch it.
Wait, which game was that?
UConn beating Duke at it's in the early of the 94-95 season. It is the Great Eight. Yeah.
Yo, didn't Duke come in ranked like crazy high and then it turned out they were really, really bad?
That was the Gillen year, yeah, 95.
What was the game where it was a Big East game and we went down
in that game?
Like we were up one and somebody scored on us with like 5 seconds to go. And then Ollie just dribbled the length of the court and got a layup to win the game. What was that game?
At Providence,
Right.
94.
I would have been so mad if I were a Providence fan.
They were number 8 when we played them, but they finished the season 13-18, 2-14 in the ACC.
Yeah.
Big yikes. Whatever. I mean, it's fun to watch them slap around Duke.
It's also one of those like great games because it was like a top 10 win, so it always shows up in like the lists, and then you look at the end of the year, you're like, oh, that team was fucking awful.
Inside for UConn, just pretty solid first half numbers for Jake here.
I ain't give a fuck.
5 points, 5 boards.
Starters have 40 of the 41 points for Connecticut. Or up top to Hardnett. Penetrates, lays it up. Short. Pascal missed.
Hardnett.
And the rebound taken down by Michael Shin, a 6'8", 230-pound freshman from Richmond.
Shin's been trying to just hold his own down low.
So this is slightly before my time as a UConn fan. Was Monquencio Hardnett ever supposed to be a thing?
He was a JUCO guy. He was just a rotation guy, but he was pretty good.
He's been looking pretty useful so far in this game.
He was always a useful guy. Like he was a solid bench guard, aggressive.
Yeah, he gave you, those 10, good minutes a game.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Terrible.
Hate it.
You talking
Hate
shit?
it.
It's a break for Pittsburgh, and Jim Calhoun was going, no.
A little bit of body contact.
Jim does look a lot older, like noticeably older than he does in '94. Like it's only 4 years, but like he looks like he's age 15.
Those were a rough
Not
4 years
making
for
the
Jim.
Final Four
I thought he caught him
during
with
that
the body,
time.
but obviously, everyone reacts here to the time on the clock. No question about it.
7 points for Cummings.
Mississippi State turned him into grandpa.
For both clubs.
Yeah, in Florida and UCLA.
All of them.
Montego.
And whatever happened in '97 that I no longer remember.
One of the top 100 recruits.
Third place in the NIT.
In high school basketball a couple years ago. Hard net. Lockhart hammered him.
I remember playing
Good
Detroit
passing
in that
team.
NIT.
And I'll tell you what, fouls mounting for Pitt.
Did we play them? Did we beat them in '97? We lost to them in
The
01.
biggest issue for the Panthers, they just can't afford
The Lindsey Hunter game, or maybe
Maybe
90,
something else.
maybe '93. They lost to Detroit.
Maybe I'm mixing up my NIT, NIST.
Lasco line drives one home. He's 67%.
That's how I look right now.
Looking at Attila Cosby, he picked up his 6:44 to go, so not good.
Attila Cosby's got to be up there for best name.
That's a good name.
And
Yeah.
Stephen Flores will get his second shot on the floor here. Lockhart will take a seat.
Look at this kid. Part in his hair.
for
Who is
4.
that?
Ah.
He is the third
not
leading
working.
What is it,
scorer.
1998? Meanwhile, this haircut.
There we go.
Never aged.
Hell yeah.
He just hasn't been getting that many shot opportunities with just 4
Nothing to
looks
discuss
in the
here.
first half.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good
14-point Connecticut lead.
history lesson. And if you just want to stay
Connecticut's
current, just shave that
in
head.
this game to go right at the basket,
Shaved head never goes out of
forcing
style.
some of these fouls.
We did not play Detroit in 97. I was thinking of Florida State.
Flores.
I get those two confused a lot.
Jump ball
Really very
I
similar.
don't really know
by Hartnett.
how that happened.
Quincy
What
alley-oop
the-
for Bosco.
What?
Missed time.
What was
Breakout.
was that supposed to be? Was Vosco supposed to catch that?
I don't think.
Really poised right
I'm not
there
sure
by
he knew
Cummings.
what he was doing.
Didn't look for a flashy dunk. He just
Like Jake looks up, he's like, no.
I don't do that. That's not my job.
The beat might have caught that.
To Hartnett. Minute and a half to go.
I feel like
First
Rip hasn't
half.
gotten a field goal in 10
Short
minutes.
On that one, rebound Greer.
He's been way less involved than I would have expected from a '98 game.
We had a nice run of Khaled early. A few nice rip moments.
And Bosco picks up
I also feel like there's been 150 fouls so far, but maybe that's just me.
He used to get fault called for so many just bullshit nothing fouls.
Yeah, that's my enduring memory of
Standing
Jake
there.
Vosco.
Being large. Near
Is
other
getting
just
called
him,
for a
like,
bullshit
having
foul
this
and then
face,
looking
like-
incredulous. Yeah,
Not even incredulous, just like, all right,
Defeated.
well,
Resigned.
so that's going, I guess.
Hawkins at the line, 9 points, 10 boards, and a block thus far.
That's a big first half by Isaac. Huh? He's really just works and gets up inside for the Panthers.
I remember one time Vosco and another guy dove for a loose ball, and Vosco grabs
Wait,
the
this guy's
ball.
10 and 10
they-
already?
This is third in a row.
Jesus.
Just first half action.
Guys,
And
Nafisa is starting a virtual book club.
And a good trip by Hawkins, who's 69% at the line.
imagine reading a book.
So back to
I'm not
10.
doing that.
Booms.
Panthers got to like that. 10 points.
Just old games for me.
They trail by as many as 16.
I like audiobooks. They're great.
Hamilton tees up a three. Got it.
Still way too much learning for me.
There we go.
Hamilton hasn't shot the ball for a while. Need to get more shots for him if you're a UConn fan.
He's got 12.
That's right. UConn fans need to get Rip more shots.
Shooter.
It's on all of
Lane
us.
Gets a foul.
You got to yell at the players. Pass it to Rip.
They get hard net.
I'm sure there's some
Come on,
50-year-old
Rip!
guy in the 12th row doing just
And
that.
hard net. That is his third foul.
Seriously, does
net.
anyone have the box score? How many fouls have there
6
been?
seconds to go.
Tough to tell from that angle. He's leaning a little from the side, but I'd call that one of the touch variety for the Q.
Of the touch variety.
Cummings.
Quincy Hartnett's a great name for when you need to put a placeholder name in that uses a lot of characters.
Junior out of Danbury, Connecticut, will come and pick up hard net.
Wait, who the fuck is that? Is that DJ Harrison?
That's we stepped it up in obscurity.
Second team all
He's always,
conference
Quincy
performer.
Hartnett is always my, like,
Cummings, 1 out of
name
2.
a random UConn player
12
guy.
points, the lead for Connecticut.
Not Sam
That's like a really fun
Funches.
name to say.
Scrambling right now.
Sam Funches.
Knocked it out of bounds.
Kyle Chapman.
So this is not a deep Pittsburgh team as we talked about, but they do hang tough.
Are they hanging tough?
No.
Really mix it up with different
They're
looks.
hanging
All
tough in the
kinds of
fact that they are
different
committing a
matchups.
lot of fouls.
Right now,
They're hanging ugly.
Ken inside.
Like they're still literally alive, but other than that,
High percentage shots
Shoot
each
it.
time.
They've not been murdered on the floor.
Here's Elamine with 10 on the shot clock. Rushing the will try it. Missed it.
Yeah, there we go,
Oh.
baby.
Hamilton tried to knock it off Greer. Gets it to Shin now.
Yikes. So that's why he stopped shooting threes.
Greer, they got numbers if they get it.
That shot.
Flores, deep corner jumper.
He had nightmares.
And Cummings.
Give him the yips.
You know what? I kind of respect Jake just there. It's like, do I close out on the wide open 3-point shooter, or do I just start boxing out like a motherfucker this guy right next to me? I'm just going to hit this guy. It worked out.
Greer with 2 on the
So
shot.
his job was always just like body up down there.
Yeah, I wish more guys would do that. Let the bad players take open threes. Just get the rebound.
Connecticut Huskies 6th ranked in the nation this week, led by as many as 16. They go to the half with a 14-point lead.
That guy in the red shirt has
That's
my
what Josh
current
Hart
hair.
to get positioned like that.
Who led the way with 14 points. We'll be back with a look
I hope
at
we
the
get
Big East
a
Wire in Hartford
split
right after
second
this.
of the halftime show.
Losing straight
Damn.
to the
No, we
Pittsburgh
get nothing.
Panthers. A look
We
at the
get
first half
nothing.
players. Isaac Hawkins with a double-double, 11
14
and
from
10.
Rip?
Greer
Rip has 14.
on the board,
Yeah.
double
Did
figures.
we just? Well, we probably missed half of the game talking about
Double figures.
Nafisa Collier's book club.
Nafisa Collier.
Literally, I apologize to everyone who subjects themselves to this garbage.
What are they reading?
Second half with the ball. They've lost 7
She
of
is
8.
actually collecting suggestions. She's going to announce the title soon.
Last place in the Big East 7. Inside. Hawkins wheeling. Off
Something
the
about
glass,
yeoman.
knocked out of bounds. Knocked out of bounds by
Fee
Bosco,
doesn't do
but then they
yeoman's
say
work.
Lockhart touched it as it went
Kinda.
by him.
She's an artisan.
Big crowd here at the Hartford Civic Center.
Do you think she's gonna put up a poll and whatever book she puts up will beat Rebecca Lobo?
Connecticut responds undefeated here this
It'll be like the
year.
Bible versus something that came out in 2018, and that'll win 78-22.
Raymond takes a step, got hacked by Montego Cummings. His second.
All of you are
Going to
bad.
be it's going to be Harry Potter.
Yeah, right.
Job today of finding
If
Harry
you're listening
Potter
to this,
is the Nafisa Collier of books.
I think they said they're going to pick a thriller.
Calhoun was concerned coming
Maybe.
off that West
if you're listening to this and you voted in that women's basketball poll, you're a bad person because
All
you
of
were
you are
wrong.
terrible human beings.
Who was it that beat Rosati? Kia Nurse?
Kia Nurse.
Kia
Give me
Nurse,
a
yeah.
fucking break.
Which
Like,
is why we
much
might
respect
need
to
to do-
Kia, but are you a joke?
Lobo ended
Like-
up
Over
winning
Jen
that.
Rosati?
Oh, that's good. But I feel like these people
Michael Jordan.
don't actually know what Jen Rosati, like they don't have any concept of what Jen Rosati did. Because it's a lot of like, oh, that was so long ago. They must have been not that very good, but she
It's
was
just-
really good.
This has been happening a lot. Like, I feel like in the absence of actual basketball, everyone's doing like voting tournaments, and the fans are invariably fucking them up monumentally,
Weird.
with
if
the
only we
exception of
had-
the best ACC player of all time,
Yes.
which was appropriately all Big East players.
All Syracuse.
That really was an excellent troll, and I am loath to give any Syracuse fans any level of respect, but like hat tip on that one. That was nice.
It's important that you remember that the point of the joke is that the Big East is better than the ACC.
Right.
And always
exactly.
has been.
Correct. But yeah, that's why I'm leaning towards. I feel like maybe we should do the OG Tennessee game early on to show the people how good Jen Rosati was.
Maybe Riz will watch
That
it
was
with
her
us.
like peak diving on the floor, you know, for loose balls. No one has ever wanted a loose ball more than Jen Rosati.
Get that rebound. There you go.
Oh.
I bet.
Oh
Yep.
God.
Right to the rim.
No, it's so nice.
That was the thing that never changed for like
Did he just smack the ref on
Oh,
the
yeah.
ass?
He sure did.
some.
Who was it that did that this year? Was that Book Night?
That sounds right. No, he hugged a ref, right?
He did hug a ref.
Yeah, he hugged that. That's what it was.
He ran from a cop. That's what he did.
Oh. Oh no. So don't talk about 2021 Big East Player of the Year James Book Night like that.
Nice job by Elamine to get it to Hamilton for a pretty easy lay-in.
This was part of like a
I have nothing but
15-year
love
run.
for 2021 Final Four Most Outstanding Player James Booknight. But that is a thing that happened.
Can you tell how bad I'm trying to change the subject?
That's slander of 2021 Final Four Most Outstanding Player R.J. Cole. And I will not have it.
One of the reasons why Greer's operating on the right side. Couldn't get that one. Lockhart got hit. Tough bounce for
It's like Vosco's a really good rebounder who jumps at really hilarious times every once in a while.
He was never that good a rebounder. Like his rebounding numbers were like fine. Like the best he ever did was like 7.1 a game, which isn't that high for a 7-footer.
That's pretty good.
So he probably also never played all that many minutes.
Well, he had 4 fouls at the
That's what I'm saying.
18-minute mark of every second half.
Doesn't he have like the most games played or something?
I think he and
Games
Freeman.
started? Games started, maybe?
Not anymore. Now, started maybe.
Jesus.
Yeah, because Shabazz has it now, right?
Yeah.
Shabazz have it now?
Most games
Yeah.
played, not started.
Played, yeah.
UConn just ran
Freeman
like...
was such a good fast break player.
Yeah, they just ran
He
like
really
perfect
was.
fast breaks for like 20 straight years.
Well, when
think-
you find the fastest, most athletic guys.
I think part of what
You
really
can't.
bummed me out the most about the Ollie years was every time in like the preseason talking to him and him being like, we're going to be an up-tempo transition team. And in my head, all I'm picturing is like Ollie era actual up-tempo transition teams. And then they never once played like that.
Damn. See, this is much more fun.
Yeah, and this is what would always happen, right? They would just miss 2 shots in a row. Next thing you know, UConn scores 9 straight points.
58-35 Connecticut.
They really made
And
you pay
Jim's
for
still
your
miserable
mistake.
somehow.
You know, we only got Freeman because UMass passed on him.
Can you imagine?
Reading the floor beautifully right now.
God, look at that pass.
Bruiser Flint retire, bitch.
Hamilton knocking that 3.
They offered Mike Babel instead.
Everything going all cylinders for UConn. Look at this feed on
Pretty.
the break.
So pretty.
No, Freeman was not supposed to be. Like, this was always Sam Funch's spot. And he just turned out to not be that good.
And then Freeman turned out to actually be good.
Funches and Klaber were supposed to be the front court.
Nope.
And they both kind of sucked.
5 rebounds, 5 assists. Big part of that good second half start. 4 for 4. And Hamilton extending the floor. Shin in the game, number 33 for Pittsburgh. So the Panthers got to try to shape up here. They are down by 23.
Having a tough time right now just getting good shots at the offensive.
Sounds like a lot.
1 point up so far.
Thinking of great fast breaks, if we ever do watch that St. John's Big East Tournament final game, like we need to pause the video and like genuflect at that one fast break early in the game. I think right before they go up 11-0, because that's the most that's the most perfect fast break I think I've ever seen.
This game is the first of an 11-game win streak this team would go on that ended with the North Carolina loss.
58-37, 13 for Isaac.
Been solid here this afternoon. Going
Who won the Big East Tournament MVP this year?
Which year?
98.
Hamilton moving really well without the ball.
I think Rip.
Yeah, I was going to say, right? Freeman definitely won it in 99.
I remember that.
I don't think another goaltend, but let's...
Hey! Look at that fucking shit-eating grin. It's like, I've been a nice play.
Ninth point by Vosco. Hawkins got a
Yeah, box out.
Trash.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh.
Throw it up, baby.
Dunk it.
For Vosco, and they get a foul before. And the legs are certainly there for Connecticut. I mean, guys are
They
just
do have legs.
releasing in a heartbeat off the miss.
2 of them. Every one of them.
Yeah, each
These
player.
guys could run a lot. Freeman and Rip could run all day.
Like, Freeman's just such a ludicrous athlete.
Look at that fucking face.
Yeah!
I did it!
That feeling when you get away
I
with
want
2
that
goaltends.
gif of him just running with hair blowing in the wind. Just so happy.
Elamine, Vosco battles his way in, but here comes Cummings.
Uppercase could post it every time after he gets off like a really good burn on a Providence fan.
Hamilton, here come the Huskies on a run, hard net.
Whoa.
feel like you'd enjoy that, actually.
Foul on Lockhart for knocking down and momentarily stopping Alameen, who comes up holding onto his left wrist.
I bet if we asked Tom, he would do that.
You better not hurt him.
Where are we? We're at like 53 minutes, probably. That's where that was.
I mean, I can make a GIF from a video. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Why don't you do it?
Post a
I'm
GIF
done.
right
I
now.
will. I don't want to like do it, and then I gotta like go back and
No.
find it. I'll do it after the game.
Don't you dare touch this video right now.
I don't know. I'm seeing like an instant mac and cheese video that I can switch to right now.
Tyler will murder us.
Hey, you know, sometimes we just gotta throw some Retrocast in the trash bin. It happens.
Yeah, this is just for our entertainment.
Right now for the Huskies. Huskies coming off a loss.
Quarantine content.
Yeah, if you're still listening at 55 minutes into this 23-point blowout, then I have some psychologists I can recommend to you.
Do you?
I do. I've come across a few in my time.
Such a nice boy, Meech.
A couple guys in trouble. Lockhart with 0 for 5 shooting and just 1 point. He's got 4 fouls. Alameen penetrates.
Jeez.
Jesus.
Alameen looks up wondering if he was called.
I love how much Khalid yelled.
No, you just hear him chirping throughout the whole game.
Michael Shin.
So much drama with Khalid.
It was like if Webster played point guard.
Did he chirp a lot?
Famous shit talker Webster.
At the bucket in this game, forcing Pitt to either play the D or commit fouls.
Hit it.
Arnett open.
All right.
All right.
Oh, all right.
That did
I'm
not look
mad at
pretty, but it went in.
Makes it 63-37.
A lot of answers for the UConn Huskies. They can come at you in a lot of different ways. And at the defensive end, they've been really...
Do I get to pick the next game? Is it my turn?
Number one
It is.
defensive team,
Think so, yeah.
Big East, allowing just 61.8 points.
Unless we have a guest.
Right.
What is your pick?
You can pick
I
the
don't
guest.
know. I might go a little more current since we've been in the past a little
Oh,
bit,
God.
but maybe not. I mean current like 2014. Come
Get
on.
him on the board. Oh, tough shot.
Yes, it was. Hardnett
Nice
right
shot.
in the face of Vontigo Cummings.
Hardnett.
Turns out he's good.
13 for Vontigo.
That's why the shooting percentage of opponents is in the upper 30s generally when you get looks like that one. Fortunate to
They're
get
just
to go.
giving UConn the foul line.
Not only to Miami in field goal defense.
Yeah, probably not a great idea. It turns out Pitt's bad.
Two guys. Nothing doing there.
Imagine
We
if
could watch-
Vosco could hit that jumper, how much
Yeah.
better a player he would have been.
We could watch the Florida game where you nearly got trampled, Tyler.
Cutter was
That was a
Greer,
fun one.
and he makes it. Greer with the bucket.
If we're picking like off the beaten path games, I would suggest from 2014 the Memphis AAC quarterfinal.
That is what I was thinking.
Oh, what was it?
Yeah.
All right.
If,
all
if
right.
I rating like 6 threes on them.
Okay, I'm into that. That sounds fun.
Got the big lead right now. Get good ones.
Bosco fouled by
Tyler, you should pick whatever game you want,
Thank you.
Saw the
Should.
pass coming and didn't get there in time. Second foul on Ricardo.
except a loss. I'm not watching them lose.
Yeah, no losses.
We're going
Wins
to have to
only
get
big.
into 2021 quarantine if we're watching losses. Just to feel feelings again.
Suleiman Wan in for Jake
Welcome to the Dimeback
Suleiman Wan.
Retrocast, and here are the only 4 people I've seen in person in 2 years.
Dave, where you get into
My beard will just be like,
Coming to you
full
live.
VC top.
Coming to you live from the tent in
Andrew
my yard where
Klaver's
my wife has
playing.
been making me sleep.
3 points on the effort.
labor.
before you know it, it'll be March Madness time, and you really want to have it.
I always thought his name sounded like a sword, and I can never decide if is it because it sounded like Claymore or because it rhymed with saber.
Saber. Yeah, it's the latter.
Greer with 15.
See, I was thinking
That guy's
it reminds
39.
me of the first one, Claymore.
Wantigo Cummings again.
Claymore was what Mel Gibson used in Braveheart.
Basketball
Yeah.
takes it away right there. And Hardnett with the personal foul.
Quencio Hardnett,
Rushmore
foul number
Jones.
4.
Too many.
A lot of changes. Run them down.
Seriously, this dude looks old.
As Ricardo Greer goes to the line.
That man is 45.
He looks like he's hitting on that ref.
Yeah. You know what, though? I bet if we find Ricardo Greer right now, he probably looks identical to what he looked like in 1998.
He'd probably, what's that?
He probably looks the same right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if one comes out after that one. Jim Calhoun just can't stand it when
Some people hit middle age early and just stay there, you know?
Kevin Freeman has been a 35-year-old man for a really long time.
Yeah, Kevin Freeman looks the same.
Oh, he's coaching somewhere.
Penn
I said
State.
Kevin Freeman, I said Kevin. I meant Kevin Ollie. My brain was saying
I mean, Kevin Ollie looks the same, too. Ricky Moore kind of looks the same.
Yeah, kind of.
A little bit.
Talik actually
Talik looks exactly the same.
exactly the same.
Maybe Klaber didn't get the rebound.
Look at those pictures of Dan Hurley, though.
Somebody was going to have to
We're
pay
wild.
Piper on that one.
He does not look the same. Dan Hurley's
Yeah.
hair.
Dan with
Dan
hair is
Third and
it's a weird time.
He
Very
carries
strange.
stress in his follicles.
Yeah.
Jones the rebound. 20-point Connecticut lead.
After listening to the podcast, I'm not unsure Andre has been just shaving his head as a torture method for retribution.
Ricardo Greer is an assistant coach at Dayton,
Okay.
and he looks exactly the same.
Right? Okay.
I'm posting it.
It's very good with the ball today, actually. Just 5 turnovers, a lot of pressure, a lot of fast breaks.
I don't know why I thought that, but I'm glad I was right.
I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. This is big for me. This is all I have now.
Oh. Well, yeah.
Greer up at the top is Cummings. Will pull up, and he hit it. Fontigo Cummings.
Turns out Fontigo Cummings is pretty good. Pretty good.
He's making some tough jump shots today.
Hit it.
Cross court to Hamilton, wide open, in and out.
Sully.
Juan got his hands on it. The save
Off his
right back
face.
to Hamilton. Hamilton
Nice.
will shoot a couple at the line.
Oh, God, that would have been awesome if he made it.
12 and a half minutes to go here
A lot
in
of fouls.
the second half. This is Big East basketball.
Vontigo Cummings makes me consider the question, who's the best player on a bad Big East team?
Pat Garrity.
That's a good shout.
West Virginia. Cosby.
Jalen Adams.
Foul.
Not a Big East player.
Between Cosby and Lockhart.
It was a
He
really
is.
bad Big East team. It was so bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the Big East anymore.
AAC for life.
You're never going to have to play another AAC game ever again.
Meanwhile, Jim Calhoun.
But we got to play 4, but
Right.
they don't count.
No, but they will not be as a member of the AAC.
They will be replacing Colgate and
Second half of the second
New
half.
Hampshire.
Stony Brook.
Shit.
The game was close, which at this point it isn't.
The thing that's important is that I get to play 20 games a year against Big East teams. I care about nothing else after that. Well, not nothing else, but you know what I mean.
Don't forget a game against the Big Ten every year.
Hey.
Pittsburgh, 3 straight wins over Connecticut. So if you're a Husky fan, you got to be loving this.
That's
do.
a good early season tournament. I'm a happy camper.
Needed that good start, control the tempo, play some zone.
Greer, good
Play
stroke.
Central.
Yeah, Jake, get it.
Ricardo Greer.
Jake is boxing out on his own inbounds pass.
Calming things down between Cosby and Voskuhl.
Ooh,
Cosby
ooh.
came out a little chippy at the very beginning, wanted to get going, but
I'll say it's something to watch all these old broadcasts and see how few replays they show,
1 of 3 shooting with 4 of 3 rebounds.
which I guess is really just there's not as many stoppages.
Connecticut.
And also, they didn't really have the technology. Somebody had to hand crank
Yeah.
in order to go backwards.
That's true. You'd always wait for the next TV timeout so you could watch the play right before it went to commercial.
Ward's always got his head up, knows exactly what he wants to do. Need a good one right here now.
Hamilton checks the opposite end shot clock, takes it to the hole and got creamed.
Rip can just get fouled whenever he wants, apparently.
He was very good at that.
Another thing when you're tired is you tend to reach more because your feet just don't get you where you need to be, and that's what's happening right now to Pitt. They're tired. The starters have to play a lot of minutes, and they're reaching in.
Beg your pardon, 3rd foul on Hawkins. Hamilton.
Pitt was 281 in the country this year. Sorry, no, they were 116 in the country in free throw rate allowed.
So pretty unremarkable.
Good numbers.
Yeah, it was better when I thought it was 281.
Having another day today along with Elamine.
We're live. Things happen.
UConn very tough to beat.
You read different columns.
Then some, up 69,
Fucking thing sucks.
31 to go from Hartford. Even the little ones are Husky fans here in Connecticut. 69-50 to lead. And next
That was
Sunday,
Russ.
James leads the Miami Hurricanes. They take on Bet Garrity and the Fighting
Is this from
Irish.
2011?
Right here on the Big East Network. It's the Canes at Notre Dame next Sunday.
That's a weird fucking thing to think about. Miami at Notre Dame as the Big East game of the week.
What's up with that dude's chin?
New England?
And Miami had a hot run there.
Olden days, what the Giants
They had a
Very hot
couple
in
years.
Miami. It's about to get really
When,
hot.
when Leonard Hamilton was
got wiped out on a pick. Greer set
Was
up the
there.
corners.
Talk about another guy who looks the same.
Can't get it. Oh, look out. Hawkins got on.
he's like 85.
He could be my grandpa. And he looks like he's about my age. It's remarkable.
It's his fourth.
Big shout out to Leonard Hamilton.
I exaggerated. He's 71.
Still, he looks like he's 35.
I would have guessed 57. Just because he's been around a while, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
he's been around.
Because
He
you
was a
know
head
he's been
coach.
around.
He was Oklahoma State's head coach in 1986-87.
Elamine Hawking against Cummings. Dump down.
But if he was just some guy on the street, you'd be like, yeah, he's like late 40s maybe.
Baseline jumper. Hawkins, no good. Voskuhl out-muscles everybody for the rebound.
That was an aggressive board.
Klaber inside, left hand.
Okay, on trick.
Wow.
Hey!
Connecticut Huskies. 5 points.
Get some nice cameos late in this game.
Nice move right there, just getting through the defense, but credit Voskuhl.
There's still 10 minutes left.
Defensive rebound.
It's been over for 30.
Well, you made a good point there with using the left hand. I mean, today is very impressive because how many times do you see guys in a situation like that?
You know what kind of games I
can't get
like?
up on the rim.
Yeah, you've got to be able to, in this league, you've got to be able to go.
I like watching my team humiliate someone.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because it's like
Cummings, no.
Rip and Collett are playing well. So it's really just UConn just beating the shit out of everyone.
Just a little bit physical here. 21-point lead for the Huskies, but that is a trademark of Big East Conference play.
Yeah, you get that weak side rebounding. There's a lot of banging right there. Voskuhl.
Yeah, Jake did a lot of banging. That checks out. It tracks.
Man, those sideburns are nice.
Flores is
They are quite impressive.
We call that the Brady Anderson.
1990.
Tyler, could you grow those sideburns if you wanted to grow those sideburns?
Nice compliment.
I could grow the top part of them. My hair will
You mean like
eventually
your
grow
hair?
to that length. Yeah, but I don't think it'll be attached to my face.
7 of the Mexican Olympic team.
I look like that, basically. I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna look like that.
He does look about 14.
All of them was really key. Another strong backcourt player.
Peter had some wild mutton chops.
Oh, yeah.
Back in high school.
Played some
They were
games,
fierce.
tried to get back
Huge.
Like right here, just like, I looked like I was in Congress in the 19th century.
It was great because he was in A Midsummer Night's Dream and they made him, he was the guy who plays the woman in the play within the play. So they give him this like blonde mop wig and this like pink muumuu and like the giant like dark mutton chops.
What did he
It
wear
was,
for the
I
play,
was
though?
the ugliest woman. I didn't have a full beard yet, but oh boy, it was.
He walked out on stage and everybody just started laughing so hard. Like
And
he
it
had
was-
to take a beat.
It was so weird because I remember like the whole time like going through like rehearsals and stuff and being like, all right, like this is how we're gonna do it, and like being in the wing or whatever, being like about to go out and being like, this looks ridiculous. They're gonna laugh as soon as they see this,
Yep.
and that kind of informed the way the rest of the show went.
Yeah.
Cosby wheeling.
Yeah, people were screaming. It was hilarious.
Man, Klaber was such a spaz.
Another rebound for Voskuhl.
One thing Greer's done well is he has.
I'm picturing David Wells in drag on SNL now.
Yeah,
for
it's
some
pretty
reason.
close.
Yeah.
I was in better shape than I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be.
What a
Nicely
nice
done.
feed, huh? I like the way Greer handles himself.
Our young
out
cross
there.
son.
Sees the floor well. Beautiful read that time.
But yeah, it was a good
Under
bet. It
control
was a good
and
bet.
Makes Jim Calhoun call a 20-second timeout. You know
That was a legitimately hilarious play.
Well, it's down to 18. We can't have that.
Calhoun calls a timeout.
Yeah, they are. They're
He's yelling. He's in someone's face right now. What the fuck are you doing?
terrific look around Vosco by Greer. Sometimes you just got to let the play develop. Greer reading it, and finally says, hey, the no look right there to Cosby.
The optimist view for Pittsburgh. You remember that they were down at Villanova on Tuesday by 26 points at the half.
Great dunk by Napoleon Chris Benoit.
At the 4:26 mark before running out of gas.
Problem they're having right now, David, in that game and in this one, when you're playing catch-up ball, especially when you get foul difficulties and the ranks are thin, it's a very tough climb.
People always say it's as much fatigue mentally, too, trying to come from behind as well as physically. Hamilton, boy, there's an answer if there ever was one for Connecticut.
Rip Hamilton was pretty good.
Turns out, yeah.
He was an extremely good player.
Hamilton right
What
now
happened to him?
looking at him out there, Dave, too. Looks like he may be breaking a sweat, but
He won all the things you can win.
From the outside.
He's got 26 coming off a 19-point.
And he made wearing a mask cool, which might be his most impressive accomplishment.
Imagine calling that foul on Voskuhl.
Wow.
That's a terrible call.
Hey, a replay.
The guy's trying to pull himself around him. Look at this.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm not. That's an absurd call.
That's absurd.
That's exactly how my memory of Jake Voskuhl being refereed works.
Playing good defense. The guy it really is committing an offensive foul. I don't know. I don't remember if that was a rule then.
But at worst, it's a no call.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like he's got position.
In no way is he not playing legal good defense there.
It's madness. Yeah, the crowd sounded pretty pissed about that, and they were right. They were very right.
But he's off his usual average of 9 points.
This game was played on Valentine's Day.
Connecticut lead.
I know.
Elamine.
It was a gift to all of
By
you.
Greer that time.
From Khalid.
Yep.
I bet
It's a nice
Voskuhl had a good
penetration by
night.
Khalid that time. He just saw the opening. He's also played with a lot of poise today. He doesn't force anything. A lot of nice looks on the break, and he came out early in this game looking for his
He was
shot.
a senior my
And I
freshman
think
year.
That's what UConn needs. They need him at times to be offensive-minded.
Fourth foul on Greer.
Is there an inference here?
I'm just saying you're probably not wrong.
Cosby with 4. No reason for long
Based on what I heard on campus.
I wonder if he liked popcorn.
That's right.
Who could be sure?
No smiling, though, until that final buzzer. This team's all business.
I mean, anyone with James Vanderbeek hair in 1999 was gonna.
Yeah, it was working.
Crowd got to him
Yeah.
the other day.
Probably didn't hurt that he was on the national championship basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. There were a lot of jersey chasers just like generally.
Like, I remember Matt Newsy had a hot girlfriend. So
Shout out to Matt Newsy, who is definitely listening.
Thanks
to
for
us.
listening, Matt.
Second block of the afternoon by Suleiman
I remember he turned
Get
out
it,
to be a pretty
Suleiman.
good kicker.
He was solid. He was very, very shaky, and then he turned into pretty good.
Foul's coming. Travel.
Turnover, Cosby with the walk. That is turnover number 12.
He's like, what? That was a foul last time.
And you get out of here.
Any kind of a seam down low might be better
He
off.
kind of looks like George Blaney wearing a wig.
Just can't find any daylight.
Is that just me?
Yeah,
Have I had too many bevs?
you've bevved
Perhaps.
out. Hit it.
Back up to 22. That feels good.
Oh, nice.
Inside.
God, Pitt sucks.
Again.
Jesus Christ, Suleiman.
Tries to get the steal, and here comes Greer for Pittsburgh. Lockhart going right to the hole. And picked
Go,
up by
Khaled. Go, go, go.
He's got a man
Oh, someone's open.
2 on 9.
Whoa!
Oh,
That ruled.
That is why I picked this game.
Oh, that ruled.
well, that made everything worth it.
I can't wait till 9 minutes from now
Because
when
I
we see the
remember
replay.
that night,
Freeman.
I had to go out to pick up Chinese food.
I tell you something. You'd want to leave
No, that
the
can't be
building,
right.
to be honest with you.
Because I would have only been
It's
15.
like, wait.
Vesuvius looked like nothing.
But I
You're the
remember
walk-
Give
hearing
the
the
8-year-old
play.
the keys of the
I remember
car.
hearing the play on the radio.
And a foul against
Replay.
Maybe I was with, like, I don't know, my dad or something.
And it's on Hawkins.
So was I driving and making you come with me?
Maybe.
Here we go.
Check it out.
That seems like a thing that I might have
That
done.
actually makes more sense.
That was a really bad off the backboard pass. That's lucky that worked.
And Hamilton enjoying a great scoring afternoon himself. 26
So to circle
for
back to
Hamilton.
Uzi for a second, do you remember the game?
Wonder how that will
I think it would have been 2004, where Matt Newsy was going to kick like a game-winning field goal, and everyone started like chanting his name, and then Dan O like ran out in the field and was like, "No, stop!" And everyone was like, "Oh, our bad, sorry, like we don't know how this football thing works." And I actually don't remember whether he made the kick or not, but I think he did.
Freeman, 69% at the
But I just remember it was just hilarious because Dana was like,
That is
"You
the opposite
guys,
of what he wants right now.
stop! What are you doing?"
13 points and 0 rebounds for Freeman. That is an unusual line.
Yeah, that's weird.
7:24 to go. Connecticut in charge over Pittsburgh. Jim Calhoun en route to another win. Connecticut leading 80-54.
Congrats to
here
Jim
in
Calhoun
Hartford.
on his
Now
first
let's take a
career
look
win.
At our First Plus financial game summary. Hamilton and Elamine, that's a deadly combination today.
That really is. Look at the numbers. 41, 7 of 12 from three-point
Such
land.
a quintessential Rip and Khalid game. 41 points, 7 from 12, 7 of 12 from 3.
By the Huskies.
Pretty
And
good.
that is shocking.
Yeah,
For
I'm not mad at it.
Pittsburgh.
It's
Hamilton
shocking.
has done a good job on him. Let's look at Lockhart, averaging 21 points for Lockhart the last 4 games. Killed BC last week with 25, a non-factor today.
Now the pressure's been tight. Cummings has made some tough shots, but the easy looks haven't been there. And you knew coming into this game, Connecticut was going to be loaded for bear after that West Virginia loss. So not
They
really
were
an
loaded
enviable
for bears.
position for
Not
the
at all.
Panthers on the road.
Rawr.
Ralph Willard a couple of days ago about that. He said, "Oh, just what we need. They couldn't have won that game.
Pitt's really bad.
Couldn't have
Was
won it
Suleiman
when
gonna get a
Right?
double-double in this
George
game?
down there and everything happened to him. Fans crowding on their court, storming the court after.
I think it fits that Pitt is really bad because their fans are bad people, and their alumni are bad people.
Right.
Who's the worst alumni ever go to Pitt, Meech?
He's ahead of Ray Allen's pace.
Is it OJ?
7 from three-point range. 22nd timeout. He had nobody to help him.
I mean, it's hard to top Benito Mussolini. Like he was,
Straight 83.
like he brought some, like
Connecticut leading big time here.
definitely Carl Krauser's up there. It's either Krauser or Mussolini.
Back here at Hartford.
That's
See, he loves UConn. It's Valentine's Day. This motherfucker gets it.
And other action.
That guy just says, "Go Huskies." Fuck you,
USA
idiot.
Today, top 25, Kentucky leading Ole Miss.
I wonder what that kid's doing right
oh,
now.
man, she's like,
Look at this
I
grease
wonder if I
ball.
could pay my divorce lawyer with this rose.
30 seconds left. Rhode Island has closed the gap big time, down by 5.
Everyone that we just saw in that crowd shot is either dead or listening to this podcast right now. Fun fact.
Get it back to Cummings. Elamine.
So welcome to 8 of you.
Goes left. That's it.
God,
Oh my god.
the most morbid sense of humor on the planet.
Down.
Not a lot of openings there, but finally Hawkins does find the seam.
Everyone's dead.
Game here today.
16 for Hawkins. A little short by Hamilton that time. Cosby.
Whoa.
Bullet pass. Good thing Cummings has good hands. Long shot. Rebound by Greer. Hawkins tried to drop it down.
Oof.
You like the no-look pass?
Had a lot of reach-ins today. The game started out aggressively, and UConn really has powered the ball to the basket, but Pitt also drawing some
Oh, that
fouls.
DeCourcy list of players just got retweeted in my feed again, so I'm gonna be mad again.
He was defending it real hard in my mentions.
It's terrible.
It was embarrassingly bad.
I mean, some of them, it's just like, what are
Ludicrous.
you doing?
Ludicrous.
It was an interesting way for me to discover that Sporting News still exists.
Yeah, but they only tweet from Canada.
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
are the tweets cheaper there?
Yeah, well, they are. It's a Canadian company, right? Because in Canada, ESPN is the sporting news. Like you watch like Sports Center on the sporting news, and everything looks like ESPN, but it's the sporting news.
Oh,
You're
is that
blowing
a
my
thing?
mind.
TSN, yeah.
You come down with the arm, and it looks like a foul. So Sometimes you get them, and sometimes you end up picking up a few personals.
In Canada, an elevator is called a loo.
What are you doing? What are you doing, dog? What are you doing?
Maybe back in CYO.
Why are you doing that?
Had it done to me a few times. We got rejected.
Think about that, boy. When you get a couple shots eaten like that, you just got to keep going right back.
Yeah, right up at the man. And can't let it bother you.
Yeah.
I never minded when the shot was blocked out of bounds. It was the one where they blocked it, got the fast break. And
Yeah,
finished.
right. And coach is standing there with his hands on his hips going, what the heck are you doing?
Exactly. UConn stays with that man-to-man pressure, and looks like Ellen might have been hurt on that play.
Who keeps hurting Khaled?
Down and out, and you're right.
I'm going to go back in time and slap some people.
Cut a bitch.
His, face or
You can't hit Khaled in the face on Valentine's Day.
That is rude as hell.
He's like, Coach, get me out of here.
What a cut of hand, huh?
Yeah. You got popped in the mouth, checking those gums, checking those teeth.
Dave Lato's checking Khaled's gums.
Solid will take a break here with his team solidly in control of this game. Hamilton's got 5 threes on the
Oh.
It is pretty. Oh God.
How did he catch that? Jesus.
Stolen by Greer, but
I thought that was going to be 20 feet over his head.
Good hustle by Ricardo.
It is pretty wild that anyone who matters is still in this game.
Comeback attempt falls just short.
Is that the Lamar Odom URI team?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Well, the Rams really came back in
Hit it.
that one. That was an uphill battle.
Down 15.
Next year, Rip just takes the mid-range shot.
Rams his way through.
Oh wait, no.
He pulls up the
Odom
furthest of the jump.
was not eligible that
Richard
year.
Hamilton.
Was 97 the year they got to the Elite Eight?
No, it was the next year.
Willard, but
He was 98, 99.
Richard
That would have been the what was the guy's name with 3 names?
not forcing it.
John Wilkes
Yeah.
Booth.
No. Antonio Reynolds Dean.
There's Ricardo Greer.
Okay.
That's certainly a name.
He
That's
was
a
the,
guy.
and Catino Mobley was on that team, on the 98 team.
We're going to remember
A
some guys.
much more reasonable name to say first, yeah.
Tough shot. Tough shot. He muscled out.
Oh, Tyson Wheeler. That was the yeah.
Greer.
Man, I forgot Catino Mobley played there.
He's got 20.
Yeah, I too forgot. I definitely knew
Yeah.
it before right now.
For sure.
Nice.
So wait, the Elite Eight year was not the Lamar Odom year?
Back the suitcase
That
over
is,
one, huh?
I have
Pretty strong move.
been misleading myself for 20 years.
Greer.
Meech's mind
What
is
he's showing
blown.
here,
These are the
Yeah, they
things that
lost their
happen when
first
you
tournament
delve
game
into
with
weird old
Odom,
games.
and then he went pro, and it was the whole thing was very anticlimactic.
That was right
Well,
off
didn't
the
Odom
glass.
hit like a 50-footer or something to win the conference tournament or something right before?
Montego Cummings
I don't know.
carries that one. Montego's got 18.
More like a 30-footer, but still.
These guys got to be pretty tired for Pitt. They've gone the distance again, and Connecticut's gone in and out with bodies. They look so much fresher right now.
They let Dustin Bucks go.
Okay.
Hamilton
Yeah,
very
good spin,
charitable.
Jake.
He had an easy bucket there, dumped it down to Voskel and Cosby. That is foul number 5. So Attila fouls out with 3:31
See ya, Attila.
to go.
Yeah, frustrating day for Cosby. Just
Love to pass open the wide open, uncontested layup to give it to Jake Voskel for a spin move.
7 points in the afternoon for Attila.
The worst performance by an Attila since the Battle of the Catalonian Fields. Am I right, folks?
Folks,
Thanks, Dennis Miller.
I don't want to go on a rant here, but
They go with Michael
but
Shin
folks,
coming off the bench.
It's really been the same story for the few years that now in his 4th year that Ralph Willard's been at Pitt. The injuries, it seems each year, has been a problem. And again, this is a
I was
young
about to say
team,
people
so
should send us suggestions for games they want us to do, but
future, some
don't.
of these injuries really, hopefully from a luck standpoint.
We don't
Send us suggestions for games that you want us to do, but we're not
Yeah.
going to do them.
Yeah, I might not even read
Unless,
them.
unless you pick one that we were going to do anyway.
Right.
But that will just
If
be
we
a
pick your game,
coincidence.
it's a coincidence, yeah.
I've already picked like 10 games that we want to do.
I forgot
I
all
mean,
of
it's
them.
possible somebody could have a good idea. We could go, oh, that's a good one, and then decide to do it.
Body's healthy
It's
out
just
there.
very unlikely.
But we're not going to do you any fucking favors. If you're like, pick this one, I proposed to my wife at that game. We'll say, fuck you, we're not doing it.
it's
Yeah.
because we don't respect you as people.
And
Right.
also, like, don't
And then
give
Meech
us
will
your,
cuckold
like,
your wife.
like, oh, what? Let's watch the 99 championship. Like, we're going for deep cuts.
The crowd
Yeah, like we got like 8 2009 games before we get to the national championships. So
Yeah, the one
Get in
tournament
line.
game we did turned out to be an awful watching experience.
So far, both of my choices that we watched were good ones.
They got the
That's
biggest
true.
thing going, David,
Clear.
at the beginning
Yeah,
of
the
game,
94
beginning
game was
of
my
the second
favorite one
half,
so
when they're
far.
up on their feet,
That was
they were
fun as hell.
pumping, looking for the Huskies to break the ice and get their first basket of each half.
Although it's nice to just, it feels like I'm like hanging out with old friends watching these games. Like it's nice to just spend 2 hours with Rip and Khaled.
And then they finish up with a home game against
It's
Providence.
really true.
St. John's will come into Gamble on February 28th. And then that is the final game of the regular season. Of course, then to New York City for the Big East tournament. March
See if we can get some
4th.
Rashmall
Final
Jones.
So Hamilton
Highlights.
final game of the regular season, February 28th.
10 of 16 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3.
That's right,
31
Meech.
points on the
March used to
afternoon.
mean something.
Not a bad afternoon's work at all for Richard Hamilton. Really become the go-to guy on this Husky squad. He usually pencils
When
in
did
the
people
field,
start
1 point,
using
start
the
the
term
game,
March
that's
Madness to
the player that
refer to the tournament itself, like as an entity?
Throw it up.
That's a great pass.
Wow.
Was that Kleber?
Yeah.
You'd see these flashes from him, and you'd be like, I guess he was a good player at some point. But not at UConn.
Yeah. Probably a great high school player.
He was a top 50 recruit, something like that.
Yeah, I get it.
Jones is third.
And I remember he came in as a freshman, and he missed like some insane number of shots in a row to start the season.
Win against Syracuse a couple of weeks ago when Syracuse came in,
Not ideal,
ranked
frankly.
15th in the country at the time.
You don't love to
Real
see
went
it.
on that three-point shooting barrage. I think he made 8 of them.
And then he was never good after that.
And the Irish have really been hurt because in the win against St. John's, he got a deep thigh bruise, and he has
You know, I mean, that's the thing. Like, some guys just don't make the transition from high school to college. It just doesn't happen.
Is that Mooring?
taking a
Yes.
seat on the bench. Hardnett
Is this
goes
his
out.
first appearance today?
Pittsburgh is
Yeah,
going to
he
the bench
was
as well.
sparsely used that year.
Yeah.
He's the student manager.
Immediately gets a rebound.
Orlando Antigua.
Pittsburgh and
God, I hate that guy.
first Hispanic member of the Harlem.
Where is he now? Is he
I
still
don't know.
Kentucky?
He's still on the Harlem Globetrotters. Is that what they just said?
Albert Mooring, number 23 for Connecticut. E.J. Harrison.
All right, looking good, looking good.
The eye contact is Rashamel.
He's an assistant at Illinois now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He
yeah.
left Kentucky a long time ago.
He was USF, and then didn't he
And
go
then
back
back-
to Kentucky?
No.
17th at Georgetown.
I mean, not according to Wikipedia.
Where'd he go after USF?
Illinois.
Oh.
He's been an assistant in Illinois since '97. According to the internet.
Man, that's a light 31. Like,
10 of 16.
just a smooth 31.
It looked easy today. Rip Hamilton.
Man.
5 of 8. from
Nowadays, you
3.
get dominant 17-point games out of UConn players.
They have today is some solid work inside with
just-
Tyler, what would you give for somebody who could just casually hit 5 of 8 from 3?
I'd murder any 3 of you.
But Ty, there are only
Your choice,
You
any
did.
combination.
Does Russ
Meach,
get to be a
Meach
part?
first,
that percentage for a while.
That's fine.
then Russ twice.
Harrison, a junior out of Danbury, Connecticut. There's Jones. Suleiman Juan posting up.
I will figure out how to bring it back to
Oh,
life.
that
Trying
was
to
a
give it
nice
back to
idea.
Flavor. Juan ends up with it. And he turned it over on the travel.
How was that a travel?
I don't know.
What?
No.
A lot of folks
No, they called the travel as soon as he had the ball.
Yeah, they were like, no, we don't want to see what happens next.
Connecticut performing.
You're done.
Yeah, good team effort.
Definitely
Balance
turn the ball
certainly
over.
a factor. The defense,
Touch
once
it.
again, I thought was the key.
Shin got hit. Just a matter of who they give the
Shoehorn a few more fouls into this last 90 seconds.
fouls on Suleiman Juan.
This is some powerful LA Fitness 10:30 a.m. game energy right now by Pitt.
Ron Perry, and as Ron was just detailing, Connecticut in charge early. Look for the quick start. and they
Khalid with
got it.
his Minnesota
Out very
tat.
quickly. We thought they would. We thought they'd be very fired up after the road loss at West Virginia
This
this
idiot.
week. They were. They're back on track now. And sometimes you take that
Yeah,
loss
this fucking guy.
and you say, hey, let's refocus. Let's get back to what got us here. This is a UConn team that's only tasted defeat 4 times this year. So already with win number 22.
You dare challenge
Hawkins
Suleiman?
Off the glass, intimidated by Juan.
Yeah.
I'm also
Jesus.
intimidated by
Too
Juan.
much on that pass.
Are you kidding me?
Calhoun's going to pull him.
The number 2 scoring team and number 2 field goal team in the conference to West Virginia. Number 1 in points defense.
Like, all right,
4 free
Antrick,
throws,
take
Look
it
at that
down a
stupid
notch.
kid.
and the second best 3-point shooting team behind Rutgers. So no surprise that they are.
I've decided my bit for these retrocasts is just going to be to insult children in the audience. Do it.
I think that's great.
Boo.
Big game coming up. Next 2 Saturdays from today, St. John's will be at Gamble against these Connecticut Huskies. St. John's won the first matchup. And Connecticut was not at full strength, but that was a very good win at the Garden for the Red Storm.
Doesn't sound like a very good win
Yeah, it
if
doesn't.
Connecticut was not at full strength.
And better as this year
Sounds like St. John's is a bunch of frauds.
Maybe we'll have to watch that game and call them frauds the whole time.
Win they had last Saturday against
Assuming
West
they won
Virginia,
it,
put
which
them in
I'm
the
Fraud
believe.
Bootsy Thornton taking a shot.
Yeah, Bootsy wasn't even his real name.
There's Suleiman
Fraudulent.
Wong's 39th rebound of the game.
I believe his real name was Marvin.
I love Albert Moore.
That sounds right.
You do love Albert Moore.
I do.
At Federalsburg, Maryland.
Marvis.
Marvis.
Marvis Linwood Bootsy Thornton.
I almost said Marvis, but I was like, isn't that the name from Men in Tights? No, that's Mervin.
Marvis is the name of
Marvis
a lot of
Bootsy
Frankish
Thornton.
kings. Yeah.
Marvis Linwood.
We
was
got
his real
1
name?
minute left.
Yes.
How many more fouls can Suleiman get before this YouTube video ends?
17.
I mean, Bootsy's a good nickname. If you can get the nickname Bootsy,
Yeah, you take it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
It's
a top shelf nickname.
Should we give a UConn player the nickname Bootsy and just see how if it
Can't be
catches
done.
on?
Jim Calhoun's club about to
Who do
go
you think we
22
should give the nickname Bootsy to?
Bootsy Adams.
starters coming into
Yeah,
today's game
Brandon
for
Adams feels like a
Pittsburgh.
Bootsy.
On the court for 88% of
That works for me.
I don't
I'm
believe
kind of cool with that.
It is done.
All right. Well, if you're listening to this from 2026, that's where Bootsy Adams started.
Harrison backing it off. They'll let the clock
All
run
right,
out.
congrats to UConn.
There it is.
Pitt is big
That
trash.
fucking sucked.
Still
Garbage.
And Jim.
All right, I'm hitting stop right when this video ends.
92,
Thanks for listening to the
67
Dimeback
Connecticut
Retrocast. We'll do it again
Return to Hartford in a
eventually.
moment.
Probably in like 2 days.
See you in 2 days. Let's go.